But now Kendra, 3 months postpartum, is no contact with Pearl, and here's why. Every time Kendra holds one line, one boundary, simply like, you can't come over today, it doesn't work, Pearl gets so worked up and has such an explosion over this no that she ends up in the hospital. And after a while of the family turning on Kendra and like, why are you doing this to her? She's just like, I'm going to take myself out of this equation. I can't take this. I'm 3 months postpartum. I'm sleep deprived. Like, what in the heck is going on with these people? My husband doesn't get it. And so she went no contact. But her husband still to this day doesn't see a problem with the fact that his mom escalates to the point of she has to go to the hospital. And he still thinks that, but without his mom doing any changes, that they're just going to have like some magical kumbaya moment and just be a happy family again. And Kendra's like, that's not going to happen, because the pattern is whenever his mom is having a bad day, whenever she needs some emotional regulation, she reaches out to the baby. And Kendra's like, I'm seeing in real time what my mother-in-law did to my husband, conditioning him to be her emotional support animal. And I'm not going to let her transfer that responsibility to my baby, but my husband doesn't get it. So her question is, what do you do with this? What do you do when you're the only one setting boundaries and you have a mother-in-law who escalates to the point of being hospitalized, and your husband is still thinking like, oh, one day we'll just be a big happy family, and he's not willing to look at any of it. Kendra, this is a lot. Like, I just can't believe this. This is crazy. But she's going to keep doing this escalation process where she goes to the hospital because it's probably working. Like, my guess is once she gets herself so sick and she's in the hospital, Kent probably begs you to allow her access to the baby, and so it works, and so she keeps doing it. So if this were my family, I would focus on, yes, I'm going to be putting some boundaries up around how much you get to use my baby. Like, you're not going to use my baby as an emotional support animal, so you guys get to work on that as a couple. Like, what does that actually look like? 2, I really see some signs that your husband is a good son and he's having a hard time coming over and being a good husband, which is what our series, The Good Son Secret, is all about, which is basically showing you all the work that has to happen. That's not on you. It is your husband, Kent. It's on him. All the work he has to do from going from like being a good son to finally being a good husband. So if this resonates with anyone watching this and you want to check out that series, if you're on IG or Facebook, just comment or DM Joe, Joe, and then Ryan or I will send you the playlist. It's really, really good. So frankly, if this were my husband, I would strongly recommend couples therapy. My husband would need to hear from a neutral third party that he's allowed to put this job down. Like, maybe as a kid, he was trained that in order to be a good son, you have to keep mom calm. But as an adult, that strategy, that nervous system strategy, isn't working anymore. It's actually hurting his marriage. It's hurting his wife. It's hurting, his child, and he needs to be able to see it. But it probably can't come from you. It's going to be way more effective coming from a neutral third party that has nothing to gain. He or she is just a neutral third party, letting him know, like, you can put this down, and then showing him how to do that, giving him coping mechanisms. Like, how do you hold a no? How do you hold the no even when she escalates and she's in the hospital, so that finally you guys can push through the extinction burst, which will come, where everything will get worse before it gets better. How do you guys have some coping mechanisms, stay as a team through that storm so that she finally adjusts? Because typically an extinction burst happens when you start to really hold the line with somebody that doesn't want to be held, they don't want to have a boundary. They will amplify all their terrible, unhealthy behaviors because that's all they know, and they know that it works. And once they realize, oh, more hospitalizations don't work, more tears don't work, more name calling doesn't work, they will adjust. But you guys need to be on the same team with coping strategies. Really, really encourage being in the hands of a therapist so they can help hold you through it. And then I would really look at, what does life look like? Because right now, the way you're describing it is, at least the way I would feel, is I'm on an island alone. Like, my husband doesn't want to look at the fact that his mom did this to him, and now she's trying to do this to our son, and I'm not having it. And I just feel like I've taken myself completely out of the equation, but yet my baby still has to go with her. And I don't know how he's monitoring, her moods when he's there with the baby and all this stuff. So I just think your whole relationship dynamic might change with your mother-in-law. The way visits look might change when you're in therapy, because if you can learn how to have internal boundaries when you're with your mother-in-law, how to structure visits in a certain way where her antics don't actually impact you, or like when she does certain things, we get up and leave, the visits end. I think you might find yourself re-entering the system so that what kind of environment your baby is getting exposed to as your baby gets older, since that is your biggest concern. Because right now, I would have a hard time trusting my husband that he's actually going to be protecting our child when he's with his mom, because he might not be able to see it if that was his conditioning. I don't know. I'm just saying if that it was. So those are my thoughts. Get into therapy. Let a therapist tell your husband what's going on. Teach them coping mechanisms. Build yourself a team so you're not on an island alone. And then once all that is set and you guys know your boundaries, you know how to mind them, you've weathered the extinction burst, then I would look at what can visits look like with my mother-in-law.